going to call the meeting to order. Please rise and join me with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I know. All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. All right, we are moving on to item 3, persons wishing to address the board. I do not believe we have anybody on agenda or non-agenda items. So I'll move on to item 5, approval of minutes of November 2nd, 2022. Can I get a motion and a second, please?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. That motion passes. And moving on to the approval of the agenda. Excuse me, we've got one report, the Adult Education and Literacy Program report. Sorry, I forget the name of the person that was going to do that today, but she is out ill or with a sick child, so we're going to strike that from the agenda today. So can I get a motion to amend the agenda?
So moved.
Second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That passes. We did not have any conflicts of interest. So moving on to item 8, approval of the consent agenda. Can I get a motion and a second, please?
So moved.
Second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. That motion passes. And on to the reports of the president. We've got the academic program update, pharmacy technician.
Good afternoon, President Sarenbetz and members of the board. My name is Brittany Maurer, and I'm the Associate Dean of Curriculum and Instruction for Health Programs at Southeast Technical College. It is my pleasure to introduce Jessica Weber. Jessica has been an integral part of the health program, pharmacy program for the last about a year and a half. She has taken that program from being just a few students to really exploding it to having doubled, tripled, and I think she quadrupled the size of students that she numbers and enrollment in students that were interested. She has really grown interest in the program and also gets out into the community, just has been very excited about the program. She recently also had an accreditation site visit and has done a phenomenal job just really hitting the ground running. So we're very, very pleased to have her at Southeast Tech, and so it's just my pleasure to introduce her as Jessica Weber, the Pharmacy Tech Program faculty.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, members of the board. So I am the instructor and primary director of the Pharmacy Technician Program at Southeast Tech. I'm beginning my 3rd cohort this fall. So as an overview, our program is just 1-year diploma, fall, spring semester, 7 core courses in the program itself. In addition, we have 3 general education courses too. We have a math requirement, an English requirement, and we've recently switched the 3rd requirement to anything that the student would be interested in taking. We are ASHP accredited, which means that once a student receives the diploma from my program, that makes them eligible to be seated to take the pharmacy technician certification exam, which requires you either have to have like over 600 hours of on-the-job experience or a diploma from an accredited program. I myself have over 15 years of experience in the industry, in the retail side as far as some long-term care. I've been teaching at Southeast Tech since the fall of 2020. I recently received my MBA. I'm a certified technician as well, and I'm a certified HR professional, so quite a rounded skill set. The mission of my program, it's just to educate the graduates and prepare them to not only sit for that exam and pass it, but successfully place them in the field. My pass rate for the PTCB exam, I like to boast. The only students that are reflected on this exam are students who have enrolled and selected Southeast Tech as their school. If a student did not, let's say, fulfill a gen ed requirement, they would not be eligible, so they'd have to use work experience. So those students are not reflected on here. But right now we are at 71% of my graduates who have taken it so far, which is above the national pass rate. And I expect that to continue to rise. Some things we do in my program: we collaborate with our digital media student, or not digital, our print media students. And last year we started with a collaborative project where my students came up with a concept, how to inform the public, how to dispose properly of any medications they weren't using. So they had the idea, they had the sketch, and they went and partnered with and acted as a client to the media students themselves who actually brought their projects to life. So here you can see a couple examples of what those posters look like. This year we changed the game a little bit and we told them to inform the public of any pharmacy related topic. So you see an example of that on the right side, where it's more so childproof packaging as opposed to just where to dispose of your medication. This allows the students to dig into something they're interested in topic-wise. Also, it lets them practice professionalism and communication as well. Some other things we do: we like to get involved in the community. Every year we've been invited back to represent the field of pharmacy itself in JA Inspire and their career event at the Convention Center every fall. I'm really heavily involved in HOSA on our campus, as well as the pharmacy piece. This year I'm excited to say, when we started fall of 2020, I think we had 8 to 9 students in the pharmacy contest. This fall we're going to see 15 in December, so we're really excited about that. And we like to, our students, when they learn about colloids and different substances in the spring, we make cloud dough, we make slime, and we donate it to a daycare center, and then spend some time with those children to give back in that way. I couldn't find any students to come and participate with me this afternoon, but I got a couple graduates from last year to give me some quotes. I had to narrow them down though, because they were really, really long. Jalen Jocks is one of my graduates from last year. She now works at the Avera Compounding Pharmacy. She passed her test on her first attempt. She found the hands-on experience in the lab, built the skills needed to be a good tech. Without the pharmacy tech program, she wouldn't be at her dream job for over a year, along with letting me stand out in any future job I apply for. Highly sought after. My students are, after their internships, they leave with multiple job offers. Ashley Kelderman is another tech that graduated with me last spring. She also was certified on her first attempt. And she said without the program, she didn't think she'd be as successful as she was in the workplace. She carries all I have taught her in the workplace every day. And Ashley is also aspiring to be a pharmacist. So she is now on her way to apply to pharmacy school. That about rounds it out. Do you have any questions?
So 2 questions, actually. The first, if someone like that who is doing the farm tech, then looking to go to pharmacy school, how well does SDSU or other universities look at any of those credits? Do many of those transfer? Or
So anybody who comes to us with that, then we strongly recommend it. The pharmacy classes themselves won't transfer. The experience will. It'll be our gen ed courses that will, and then that's why I opened that up so they could take some transferable gen ed courses that then would relate to more of a university type setting.
Awesome. And then looking at Cigna closed about January of 21, and then I see that our enrollment kind of peaked right before that and then kind of went down. Is that Signatel Drug, is that one of the employers that would have been pushing students to us, or is that loss of that business in Sioux Falls affected?
Not so much. So Teldrug and Cigna, I think we're more so long-term care and unit dosing. Because of COVID, I wasn't allowed to bring students there until last year. Last spring was the first year. So we could only put them in hospital and retail in the meantime. So now we're starting to expand that. So as far as hurting my program, I haven't seen that just yet.
That's good. That's good.
Do you know, you mentioned hospital and retail, obviously, those are the 2 main places that students would go, is that correct?
The largest employer of pharmacy technicians and pharmacists is community pharmacy, so retail.
Okay.
Yep. And then in our area, Avera and Sanford employ quite a few.
And do you know what a starting Farm Tech makes?
Yes, actually, they just started posting their rates. So Avera increased theirs. A starting technician would make $17 an hour.
Okay.
And then upon certification, they'll make more money.
Sure.
So what we boast about is there is on-the-job training. But with my program, it also qualifies you to take that exam.
Sure.
And so, yeah, with our pass rate, then they have the experience, the internship, and that certification under their belt, which gives them an edge over somebody just walking in off the street.
Yep. Good, thank you.
So you mentioned the pass rate, which is amazing. But you said is there sort of a sub cohort of students that have taken your classes, have passed, but they're not included in that number because?
Yep, because of a gen ed requirement. Yep, so I can't give them a diploma.
Right.
So they would have to use their work hours to be eligible for the exam. So I won't see those numbers. So I have 3 students who are not included in that number, which elevates that 71%.
That would boost you up if
Yeah.
you included them. So it's still excellent pass rates, so.
Nice.
Anything else?
Keep going.
I'm going to try.
Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you.
Appreciate that. All right, can I get a motion and a second to approve the academic program update, pharmacy technician?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, same sign. That motion passes. And then we are on to the Southeast Tech policies update.
Good afternoon, President Sarabetz, members of the board. My name is Benjamin Valdez, Vice President of Academic Affairs at Southeast Tech. I'm here presenting on behalf of President Griggs regarding our policy update request. We started this process several months back. The precipice is all because of the Higher Learning Commission accreditation visit that we'll be hosting in April. We wanted to make sure that we are up to date on our policies. Our policies have been reviewed. So the group that came together had 3 main focuses. One was to ensure that our policies were necessary and accurate based upon where we currently are operating in the environment we're in. We wanted to verify that we're up to date on the current laws as things have changed, to make sure that those are reflected within our policies. And finally, we wanted to make sure that we clarified anything so the policies were more effective and be more applicable to Southeast Tech and our current environment. The committee that's been reviewing this has been comprised of both faculty and staff and administration from Southeast Tech, and we've had the pleasure of having Ms. Ryder sit on this committee with us as we've done this review. The policies themselves have had a basic focus on the format. So there are 5 components of how we have restructured our policies. The policy all has, first and foremost, a purpose statement, why the policy is in place, the genesis, and kind of some history there. There's a general statement policy, there's the reporting procedures applicable, and then dissemination of the policies and training, and finally the record of board action as the policy has evolved over time. So in essence, to try and prepare for the visit and be more clear with our policy and procedures, we're bringing these forward as a first reading. We are asking the board to approve the first reading and then move forward with approval at the next meeting. I send open for questions.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I would just add, there's quite a few on there that we've been working through, and a majority of those, like you said, are very structural, kind of reformatting how they look. And then also, there's been a lot of combinations of things that maybe were combined with K-12. So in many cases, we went through and like replaced superintendent with president. So just making them more applicable to the actual organization and how it functions. And then just like we do with our policies for K-12, making sure that they reflect practice of what we're actually doing. And so from a content perspective, not a lot of content has changed. It's more been reworking how it looks like, making sure we have tracking for when it was last reviewed, and then making it appropriate to the organization itself. So I wouldn't call out anything specific on these that we're reviewing from a content perspective. But we thought with the, widespread changes we were making with formatting, that it made sense to do a first read so people could take a good look at them and see if there's anything that there was questions about.
Thanks, Carly. Appreciate that.
Thanks for your work.
Yeah. All right, can I get a motion then and a second to approve the first reading of the policies A through S?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. All right, that motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you. Just 2 reminders to the board. This Friday is going to be a fun-filled day at Southeast Tech. We're starting off the day with our RN nursing pinning. Our LPN pinning is actually this evening, followed by, we're very excited, our first cohort from the Department of Corrections. We'll be having a celebration, and we're having the Secretary of Department of Corrections, Secretary of Labor will be present, as well as some other community members. So if you have the ability to come, we'd love to have you there. And then obviously we end the day with graduation, probably the greatest time that we have at Southeast Tech, and that's to see these individuals actually graduate and complete their degree and move on to their careers.
That is at 5 o'clock. And
Correct.
it's held at the,
Sanford Convention Center.
okay, the Pentagon.
No,
Oh, Sanford Convention Center.
The convention
Gotcha,
center.
okay.
But
the Premier Center.
yes, the Premier
Yep.
Center, yes.
That's
Okay.
the convention. Okay, I thought it was at the convention. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the convention center side. We in the fall or December, we use the convention, and then we use the arena
Arena.
for spring because it's
Spring.
twice as.
Yeah, much bigger. Thank you for clarifying.
Thank you.
All right. All right. Anything else for good of the order? Okay. Can I get a motion and a second to adjourn, please?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. That passes. We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.